one of the reasons for him being restricted in the game against Tunisia was because he started, and of course the Tunisians know that he's a very dangerous player, and they actually put him to check. So we said, okay, put Chikatara in on the bench, bring in other players, and let's try as much as possible to, bring in Chikatara later on to probably kill the game off. And that was what he did. And even when Nigeria conceded that goal, he made those changes as well. However, it's just so simple. The hunger that these players, this team showed in the game against Niger and against the Tunisians wasn't there. I mean, it was like they did not want to win. It was like they did not want to score. I mean, everybody are like blaming Olise and all that, but trust me, at some point, Olise was frustrated with the way they were playing if you had won that game, especially in the second half. That hunger wasn't there. They were playing as if they were playing in a league game and they just want to consolidate, probably win by a away goal or something. But this was a game that they needed to at least draw.
If we had won that game, we'd be sitting here and praising Olise, because if you look at the changes he's made, he reacted to every situation.
He did it. He did it.
Somebody was getting. Somebody was, so he looked at this guy. He was looking as if he was injured. Took him out, even though he didn't allow the first half end. Took out that energy. Brought this one. We talked about Yedikachi. The guy came on.
You understand?
You even had a player who should have gotten a red card. If I don't know
exactly,
right in front of the referee, you just lost your mind, went for the opponent. So all of those, it's attitude. The hunger was just.
I think it was just the attitude. Fine, in the first two matches, yes, we won well in the first match, but I felt in the first two matches that Nigeria were defensively deficient. I felt so.
In the first two matches.
Honestly.
Against Niger?
Yes, against Niger, there were some times like that when the defense was somehow. But in the second match, I felt, okay, yes, the defense wasn't even better. They were still deficient. So I was thinking, okay, well, say, yeah, your other department is good. Just try as much as possible to add some bites to that defense. That was just it. I mean, if you look at this game against the Tunisians, if they had half of this hunger, just half, we would have won the Guineans, because it wasn't like they were better. It wasn't like they just...
I agree. They weren't better.
They weren't better.
Why would try to understand what went wrong with the... I'm sure these fans are doing a lot of that, a revival right now. We'll try to understand what happened to the Super Eagles. Let's take some tweets on Twitter. We urge you to keep them coming. We like what we see. Sheyi Okpeolu Ajayi on Twitter says, Nobody should blame the coach or players, but a poor league that kills creativity and development. We sleep and expect all to sleep. That's coming from Sheyi on Twitter. Nasiru Suleiman says, at least they were humble enough to say sorry. The game today was quite disappointing. The sparks disappear. Nothing at all. He also said, Adeniji had a stroll in this chan. We were beaten because we deserved to be beaten. No ambition. We still want to understand what really went wrong, but I'll just throw this one to Yemi Adebayo. Yemi, Victor Abolo says, how can you go into a game with a mindset of a draw? Guinea actually went for a win, and they got it. Did we go into that game hoping to draw?
It would be unfair to say we went to that game.
Yeah.
Well, it would be unfair. Unless you can bring me the tape where the coach told those guys, go out and draw. This has just happened and it's beyond your power. The hunger wasn't just there. The tactics was right. Everything, I mean, the situation, everything favored us. You see, and that's the hallmark of great teams. On the day when you don't play well, you must ensure you get the result. Now, the difference in this game for me was that mistake that we paid dearly for. Let's imagine that mistake didn't happen. It's going to be a different story. We'll forget about how they played. I will think of how we'll do well in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And also, that winning mentality was just not there. There are days you will have a bad game. You're not going to play 90% all the time, but sides that are champions would display champions mentality, even on the day when they do not play well. I mean, I would have appreciated if somebody got a red card and that ball didn't cross the line. I mean, that's champions mentality.
That's right.
Ensure that you do not lose. The minimum required was a draw. And when it wasn't going our way, we must ensure that we get that draw. And so that was it. It will be unfair to say Coach Sunday Olise went that. It's just that at times you can't give what you don't have.
Exactly.
The hunger was not there.
Simple.
You know, you looked at a player that was right in front of the referee, went for an opponent's throat, even after getting the yellow card, was still going about.
And at that time, you were still losing.
And your team was losing.
You needed character.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
And as at that time, you had a free kick that it was for you. Why not just pick up the ball and do what you want to do?
Okay.
Well,
So there's still a lot to learn from this team. I'm still going back to Twitter. Keep those tweets coming. We want to understand what went wrong with this promising, this team filled with quality. The Super Eagles of Nigeria, they're out of the Africa Nations Championship. Dende says, we want to play tiki-taka. Have we got the mentality? He says, no. Let's add our African flair and physical football. Dr. Levinus on Twitter says, Olise is to be blamed. Why remove Usman at a very critical moment? And surprisingly, he also benched Chikatara. Very bad. You think he's being harsh on the coach?
I think he was.
Yeah.
A lot of people will also point out to the fact that Usman could have gotten us a goal, before it was subsidized. I don't know that. I don't know if that was the reason why it was taken off. But I had a feeling that it was looking as if he was uncomfortable. Maybe that was why.
I think I should answer that. In the last game against Tunisia, he had a knock, a groin knock. Now, if you watch that game against Tunisia, he had a knock. And he was playing with so much discomfort. And yes, immediately after he was removed in that game against Tunisia, it wasn't quite long that Tunisia scored. Now, in this game, you could see that he was playing with much more than discomfort. He wasn't just comfortable. He could not play. In fact, it was as if he was rushed because he was injured. He was supposed to have been rested, but then they brought him in so that to put a bit of solidity into that midfield. But even at that, he wasn't doing his job, and that was why the coach removed him. So I feel that anyone that is blaming Olise for removing him, it's kind of been harsh. Trust me, Usman is one of the best players for the team, and we saw his impact in the first game.
Good work
and
rate.
The way he worked in the second game.
That's right.
So for removing him, Olise would not just remove him if he wasn't injured, and I think that was just what happened.
Okay, Yemi. Ikechukwu Igbenebu started the first two games, or came in the second.
Started the first game.
Started the first game. We know him. He gets the ball. Tries to put control in place. You think he could have made a difference in this game?
You see, if and what if doesn't count in football, and I'm
particularly where you've lost and crashed.
And I'm very careful trying to turn back the hands of the clock. So I won't go into if and what if. But in my response to the guy that blamed Olise, this guy, there was a time we were even playing with two strikers.
Yes.
There was a time, he sacrificed one of the guys in the middle. We were playing two guys on the flanks, two guys in the middle. We tried to bully our way. There was a time they were playing a direct approach. There was a time it was just those two guys in the middle. They weren't doing much. One touch and the ball was up in the air. And, for the guys to just run and rush and do that. This is the mistake I was talking about. And this goal is a gift.
Look at this goal.
And you
look
don't,
at the cast, for goodness sake. Chima look at the way he's looking.
The incidents that led to this is my worry. You control the ball so aimlessly that the ball left
it to the hands of the opponent.
ball left you and went to the opponent, and we didn't recover.
You know what? He made two mistakes here. He lost the ball. He was dribbled. And at the same time, he allowed...
Didn't close down his opponent. This is it.
He didn't even close down. Look at him. He didn't even close down his opponent.
And
you're blaming Olise?
3, 4, 5.
I counted, it was 4.
Yeah.
4 Nigerian defenders.
For goodness sake, who is blaming the other defenders? I am blaming Akas.
Okay,
look at him.
2.
Look at Akas, for goodness sake. And he's supposed to be the captain of the side.
On the run of play, anything can go wrong.
Well, anything can go wrong.
Somebody wasn't just watching the goalpost. My goalkeeper is coming out. There should be some understanding. Goalkeeper is going out. Somebody should go back to assist. But let's look at the positives going forward with this team, because we had so much confidence.
Yeah.
This team has a quality right here, to do big things. What's next for this team?
It's only the NFF that will be able to answer that question. But for me, I think we should not discard this team. What this team has just shown us that there's a difference between promise and reality. It's a promising squad, and that the future holds a lot if we can keep these guys together. Unfortunately, that's a tough ask. A lot of them will go to Europe. Some of them are even waiting to go to Europe.